Hello everybody, my name is Rachel and today I'm going to talk about books 3 and 4 in the Amber Chronicles by Roger Zelazny. These books are Sign of the Unicorn and The Hand of Oberon. And this video is going to be classified as spoilers. I'm going to give a non-spoilery recap of the books, but all my commentary after that point is going to be a spoiler zone. Just so you are forewarned, if you haven't read the books yet, I'm not going to try to avoid spoilers when I talk about my own feelings towards these books. So onwards with a quick recap. Both of these books are concerned with Corwin primarily running around talking to various family members in order to solve mysteries from the first two books. Corwin wants to know about the events that led to his condition at the beginning of the first book in the series, as well as what has caused the mysterious Black Road and the character of Dara from book 2. These two books together, The Sign of the Unicorn and The Hand of Oberon, work together to fill in a lot of the information that was skimmed over in the first two books and to flesh out the world building, some of the character relationships, and the plot. Both books 3 and 4, in my opinion, have a much improved writing style or quality of writing. Tonally and stylistically, they are more even and readable, but there are still some passages that you might find yourself skimming because they have lots and lots of ellipses and fragmentary phrases, which drive me crazy too. That's usually during the shadow walking scenes, which honestly you don't learn anything interesting during those scenes, so just go ahead and skim them. I skimmed them. I usually force myself to read about every single word on a page, but not when Zelazny is using that particular technique, and I'm very glad that he seems to have toned down using that style. It's very, what did Nicole say, 1970s experimental style. It is not a technique that he relies on as much in these two books, and thank goodness, because it was really annoying after a while. Now this is where the spoilers begin. Like I said before, these two books are both primarily concerned with Corwin finding out a lot of information from his various family members. I was very interested in the story and rescue of his lost brother Brand, learning more about his sister Fiona. I have to say, let's talk about female characters really quickly here. There really are only two main female characters in the series so far. Fiona, the sister, and then Dara, who obviously is a blood relative, probably descended from Benedict. And I don't really like that we only have two women of any importance to this story, and they're both kind of painted as villainesses rather than heroic in any way. After what Corwin and Benedict learned about Dara from Martin, and then after Corwin had his conversation and meeting with Fiona at the end of book 4, I feel like maybe their characters are not so incredibly two-dimensional, but give them some dialogue at least, you know? Let them talk. Let them actually be on screen, not just have other characters talking about them. That would be more interesting, honestly. I'll take what I can get though. Honestly, I at this point would like to know more about Luella and Moira and Revma, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I really enjoyed the plots of both of these books because they read like mystery plots to me, and I really enjoy that kind of thing. Just Corwin going around and finally gathering all the family members together, their conversations. There's the one big scene in Sign of the Unicorn when all the family's together. It read exactly like an Agatha Christie novel to me. All the estranged family members together in the dining room, all of them trying to hide their agendas from each other while prying information out, all of them wondering who's the culprit, who's the attempted murderer. It was fantastic. And I think I've said in a previous video or commented somewhere that I like Corwin the best when he is around his family members. I like it when he's talking to his family members, and there is a lot of this in this book because pretty much the only people he talks to are his family members and Ganelon. And I think that through all of that, he not only is Corwin getting information, but he's also rediscovering the personalities of his siblings, how they have changed over the years, how he has changed over the years. And so you get a better understanding of these people's relationships to each other and a lot of the political factions they've had and how they're all different. I mean, there's a lot more talk about how they have different mothers and how they were raised or not raised very well by their father and kind of pitted against each other. And now you're just seeing the result of all of that. Let's discuss Corwin's character development, or perhaps some of you might say his lack of character development. I think there are two aspects here I want to talk about. One is his attitude towards women, and the other is his attitude towards people in the Shadow Worlds. The first one's pretty easy to tackle. I don't think that there's a lot of development in Corwin's attitude towards women. In both these books, he expresses that he doesn't really think that his sisters are in any way capable of ruling Amber, that they're not really, they don't have the gumption or the wits or the know-how to be part of the big bad plot or whatever. And of course he turns out to be so wrong, because Fiona's in the middle of everything and she might know a ton more about the Shadow Worlds and Dworkin's mysteries than he did. So there you go, Corwin. About the only good thing I can say about Corwin and women in these last two books is that he doesn't seem to sleep with any women randomly. When that's your bar, obviously the only women in these two books that he talks to, as far as I remember, are his sisters or his sister-in-law, and I think even that is where Corwin would draw the line, though we do know what happened with Dara. Also, I want to talk about Corwin's attitude towards the people who live in the Shadow Worlds. This is not something that really bothered me that much. In the first two books, it seems that he rather callously leads thousands of Shadow World inhabitants to their deaths because he's acting like a god and he needs an army. Some people who have been reading the series were really bothered by that. I wasn't bothered as much, but I was paying attention because I know that there is supposed to be this character development arc with Corwin where he's changed. His time on Earth, the centuries that he lived there, have changed him. And in book 3, Sign of the Unicorn, one of his siblings actually initiates a conversation with him about how he's changed. Like, there is something about his attitude towards these people, towards people in general, that his siblings pick up on. It's a shift. He even notices in himself that he seems to value other people's lives more. He's not like just constantly shedding blood when he thinks that his older self would have thought nothing of just, knocking somebody off. He seems to be thinking it through a bit more. I think the biggest evidence that Corwin is not all bad when it comes to people who live in the Shadow Worlds is his connection to Earth. In both of these books, he goes back to Earth and he meets his old friend Bill, and he talks to this guy. He has a relationship with this guy. He treats Bill with respect. He kind of lets him in on the secrets. And I kind of wonder if Corwin would ever go back to Earth and live there if he could. I don't think he's going to necessarily, but he seems to feel very fond about Earth and about all the people that he knew there. And finally, I am so glad that this story really is turning out to be more about saving Amber and fixing Amber and the Shadow Worlds than about the power struggle in the first book. I remember when I was doing my wrap-up for the first two books that I was hoping that the introduction of the Black Road and Dara would indicate that the story was going somewhere else. And I'm very glad to see that the emphasis really is taken off of the struggle for the throne, and that it's not just Corwin thinking that way, it's the entire family taking a step back and going, okay, something much bigger is going on. And it's cool to find out about the political factions and the plots and all that stuff, but it's also cool to see them kind of bonding together about how do we fix this problem, and seeing some of them talk about their mistakes and wanting to fix things as well. And I really want to know more about Dworkin. I want to know more about how Amber was created. And the next book is The Courts of Chaos. So going there, I think there's going to be an interesting resolution to at least the first 5 books because it's the Corwin cycle, and I really can't wait to read book 5. My reactions to the plot at this point are a lot harder to put into words. I'm starting to get to the point where I remember more about how things are going to fall out and end up, especially here at the end of the Corwin cycle, and I don't want to get ahead of myself and be like incredibly wrong about something. If you guys have any thoughts on these books and where the plot is going, please comment down below. Let me know if you plan on reading beyond book 5. I don't really know how many people are planning on reading the entire series, but I'm in it for the long haul. And that is it for me today. I will talk to you guys again in my next video. Bye.